So if you used TikTok last year, then you probably remember this guy who would give you tips on literally anything his mind would come up with. He would tell us how to date single moms, how women lie to get pregnant, where to find the big women. If you were scared at anyone seeing your search history, then this is the guy for you. And when he explains how to do whatever it is he's saying, he doesn't just tell you in a few words. Each one of his videos are like a minute long and go into excruciating detail.
How to take a shit at a bitch crib. Look guys, whenever you at a bitch crib and your stomach start hating on you, you should probably just get the fuck out of there. Tell her you need to go to the store because you got a headache. If she says she got Tylenol, you only take ibuprofen. If she says she got ibuprofen, you only take Tylenol. But what if you stuck at her crib? Well, tell her you got something in your eye. And then go to the bathroom and turn the water up real high and turn the fan on. Now look around for some Fabuloso or some bleach. And then pour that shit into the toilet.
And that's basically how all his videos are. Some might be a bit more controversial than others, but none more controversial than his newest one. Now before I get into this, I just want to say that I thought this whole thing was a joke. I thought he was playing a character, because who the fuck actually needs to know how to sleep with their cousin? The people that want to do that don't need a tutorial. At this point, he's just speaking from experience. But regardless, his videos were going viral, whether you hated them or not. And now with his latest video, he has proven once and for all that he is serious about everything he's saying. So his latest video is about the age of consent, and already, if you're going to joke about that, it needs to be well crafted, and more importantly, needs to be a joke. Unless you're going to tell us about how they need to raise the age of consent, then you better crack a joke at the end of whatever it is you're saying, or you can just do what this guy did.
Why, age of consent is some bullshit.
Alright, so not even 3 seconds in, and we already have a red flag. Saying the age of consent is bullshit is like saying drug driving shouldn't be illegal. Every predator who has ever lived has had that same thought.
Well, because it's a bunch of man-made laws that don't make no fucking sense. For example, in Angola, the age of consent is 11 years old. In the US, the age of consent is 16, sometimes 18 years old. In Bahrain, the age of consent is 21 years old. But in the Bible, God don't say shit about no age of consent.
Alright, so there's our second red flag. Once you start bringing in religion to your argument, any credibility you once had becomes about as real as Jesus is. And I hate to break it to you, but the Bible isn't a fucking country. What it says in the Bible doesn't apply to the real world. That's why it ends in the apocalypse. His logic is that because every country in the world doesn't have the same laws when it comes to the age of consent, they need to take a page out of the Bible and just remove it altogether. Alright, R. Kelly, settle down.
See, you can't have this conversation without a lot of people calling you a pedophile. And actually, it's the complete opposite. Because I was molested as a child, and my only regret is that it didn't happen more often.
And just like that, guys, we have our third and most definitely not final red flag. What the fuck do you mean your only regret is that it didn't happen more often? People aren't going to think you're a pedophile for having this conversation. It's what you're saying to get your point across. There are people who have been severely affected from being a victim of what you said happened to you, and just because you're a fucking weirdo and liked it, they should too? Where did the Bible come into any of this? Was that your way of getting religious people on your side? Like, you know what? He's right. It doesn't say anything about the age of consent in there. You know what? I think I'm finally gonna stop by that daycare on the way home, honey. What?
If it wasn't for these punk-ass age of consent laws, I could have been taken advantage of by so many other bitches. Like my teachers, my mama friends, my friends' mamas. These laws cost me pussy. I believe when you hit puberty, that is your age of consent. Your body tells you when you're ready to fuck, not the government. Game is game.
Now, I'm afraid game is not game unless you're 18 or over, at least in America. But what kind of sick fucking freak do you have to be to think when a child hits puberty, that's when they should be allowed to consent? Does he know when kids go through puberty? Because I had an idea, but I had to look it up. And it says children begin going through puberty as early as 8 and 9 years old. This guy wants to let a fucking 8-year-old be able to consent when asked for sex? And even if we were looking at it from the other point of view where he wants to be the kid, you want it to be okay for a bunch of adults to be able to abuse children because, as you say, you're missing out on some pussy? I hate to break it to you, but that's not something a child misses out on, you fucking weirdo. When you're not even 10 years old, you're not like, well, I want to play some games today, I want to play with my friends, maybe watch some TV, and then, you know what, maybe I might squeeze in sex right before bed if the neighbor lets me, if I find any adult willing to, if I find fucking, if I see some old guy walking down the street, I might just tease him a little bit. Anyone who has that thought process about the age of consent should be considered a pedophile. There's no question about it. And what's really weird is that there are people who are like, I see what you mean, Unc, but this is wild. Thinking this is some kind of joke when he actually just told us how he really feels. And the replies differ depending on what account you go on. His Twitter has the most normal reaction where people are like, you're done, dog. I'm not defending you anymore this time. There was one guy who was like, I don't get the outrage comments. This isn't the top 3 worst things he said. Yeah, it's because it's the worst thing he said. I know he had a video where he was like, had a roofie a bitch, but he wasn't like, I've done this multiple times, and you know, I wish it would have happened more, honestly. This video is coming from the heart. This is how he really feels. If we go on his TikTok, he didn't post it there because he knows he would get fucking mass reported, banned, doxxed, whatever it is for saying this shit. Other people are posting it, but he hasn't himself. And it's not like his account isn't active. He posted a video 5 hours ago of me taking this screenshot. Now, if we go to his Instagram, the comments on these are alarmingly nonchalant about what he just said. People are saying, Unc, you cooked, but no one wants a plate. He did not cook. If you think he cooked at all, you deserve a plate in jail. Then we have someone who said, bro could convince me that meth is healthy. So what you're saying is that he convinced you that the age of consent is bullshit? Someone watch this dude's every move from now on, because anyone who can be convinced of something that easily is definitely up to no fucking good. And the worst comment was actually a reply he made. Someone said, they do make sense. It stops adults from fudging kids. What don't you get? And then he replies with, I wanted to be fucked by adults as a kid though. Yeah, but they didn't want to do that to you, dumbass. I like how he only assumes that it's going to be girls that want to have sex with him when a majority of pedophiles are men. I'm sure you're gonna get that one lady who you saw in the grocery store was super hot to come and sneak into your room and be like, yes, finally, the age of consent has come down. Now, I have to see those pants come down. When he says all of this, it makes me think that this is his way of saying that he's been having a crush on this 8-year-old and he is mad that he doesn't live in Angola or wherever the fuck he said the age of consent is 10 years old. And again though, why did he bring up the Bible like just because it doesn't say the age of consent should be 18, that it shouldn't be a thing, like there isn't a whole other story they were telling us? They're like, my bad the age of consent didn't come up. You know, we were telling you about some dude on a fucking cross, but you know what, for our next one, we'll make sure to specify who can have sex with who, just for you. He said in the beginning that you can't have this conversation without somebody thinking you're a pedophile, and it's like, what else are they supposed to think? No, yeah, he's trying to help the children. He's trying to save the children. Shut up. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.